Dr. Feeney's House of Terror.
What's up, guys? It's your boy MJ, and you're now tuned into Let's Talk for a Minute. So as you can probably tell from the title, on today's episode, I'm going to be counting down my top 5 best, most favorite witch horror movies, especially seeing how we're in the month of Halloween and we're in the month of October. What better reason than to celebrate it with a couple of movies that I best recommend for you guys to watch in the month of October, and especially maybe even possibly on Halloween night. So I'm going to start from the bottom and work my way to the top, from 5 all the way to 1. So coming in on the first movie to come on my list, I would have to say go to the number 5th spot. The first film I could think of, I would have to definitely say it would be the 1999 film, The Blair Witch Project. Now, The Blair Witch Project definitely was not best overall for its performance. It was not very crafty and it was not very well put together, but it did have an impact and it did left a legacy with it, a legacy trail behind it, because of the fact that I think that it was based on actual possible true documentary, a true incident that occurred. So that's one of the reasons why it stood out, and there were follow-up films to the franchise that were debatable whether they were good or not successful, but the franchise itself, the Blair Witch Project, did last for a while, and it did have multiple films, and it did continue to go on, and even to this day we still know of the Blair Witch Project. So that's why the Blair Witch Project definitely would be on my top 5 list. Coming up next, the 4th most favorite witch movie that I can think of, I would have to say it would be the 1960 film Black Sunday. The 1960 film Black Sunday, starring Barbara Steele, definitely would have to go on my list. Now, if we know about, when we're talking about witch movies, we're talking about that good scare. The Black Sunday, the 1960 film, being a classic film, it definitely stood out, and it definitely did what it needed to do, especially during a time in an era where there were other competition or movie films that were out just as good or with the competition. And I would actually say that Black Sunday was actually better than some of the other films, such as Suspiria. I do believe that Black Sunday was a better film than Suspiria. Moving further along, coming in number 3, my 3rd most favorite best horror witch film would be Hansel and Gretel, the Witch Hunters. Definitely, by far, it will go on there. This film, Hansel and Gretel, the Witch Hunters, definitely went very underrated and definitely went heavily undershadowed when this film was actually better than it actually did in the box office. And it was very crafted, it was very well put together, and you had a phenomenal cast as well. So I think having an overall phenomenal just actors, directors, producers, just everything around the film basically would make the film stand out to me. Now, we're getting into the top 2 films now. My top 2 favorite witch horror films. Number 2, coming in number 2, my second most biggest witch horror film would have to go to the 2015 film The Witch. The 2015 film The Witch, which is more like of a folklore horror film, definitely, that took place in England. Definitely, this by far would have to be, I think of when we're talking about witch horror films, this would have to be come in number 2 on my spot, and arguably could have came number 1, but there was only one other franchise or one other film that I could put above The Witch. So without any further ado, let's get into my number 1. My number 1 most liked and most favorable and most, I think, is just the best overall put together witch horror film would be the 2013 film The Conjuring. The Conjuring as a franchise has definitely set a boundary and set set some boundaries on its legacy, and it has done a phenomenal job in the preceding films, and has continued to be relevant and continue to do a good job. I definitely cannot think of any other film besides The Conjuring being a witch horror film that I could put above The Conjuring. The Conjuring, based on the Ed and Lorraine Warren files, it definitely did what it needed to do. It had a definitely strong, phenomenal cast, and just overall put together. So I hope this was entertaining for you guys, and I hope this was helpful and useful for you guys, especially in the month of October. Some films that I highly recommend that you guys might want to add to your list of films to watch in the month of October.